Hi, I'm Dara, and this is day 23 of 27 weeks to building a real-life million-dollar local business. All in all, we're getting there. I'm now able to spend more time on focusing on growing an internet company and less time on figuring out the cleaning details. I would say we're definitely on our way to a million-dollar business. Because we feel like we're on solid ground, it's time to start our Adwords campaign. To do that, we talked to Jordan Schumacher, who spent a total of 3 days going over everything from starting your campaign to launching it. So here's part 1.
My name is Jordan Schumacher, and I'm a pay-per-click consultant focusing primarily on Google AdWords and Facebook ads. Right now I'm managing right around $300K per month in ad spend. And I work with clients in a variety of niches. I've worked with a handful of groovers, had a lot of success in the local service businesses. And when I saw that Rohan and you, Dara, were doing this case study, I thought it was really cool. And I reached out to Rohan and asked if he wanted some help on the AdWords segment of the case study. And he was all for it and put me in touch with you. And here we are.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm really excited. I am an extreme beginner, so you're going to have to kind of go through it from beginning to end with me because I don't know anything about AdWords. I know a little bit about Facebook ads, but, I know the general concepts, but nothing in depth at all other than it's Google, so.
So. Yeah, that's totally fine. And I sort of put this together as a complete beginner's crash course to AdWords. And yeah, it should be good.
All right, cool. So let's get started.
All right, great. So I put together this very beautiful mind map, mostly just because I hate PowerPoints. But I'm thinking that we'll split this case study up into 3 days. Today we're just going to focus on kind of the foundations of AdWords, the theory behind it all, how it all works, just so you and everyone listening has a basic understanding of AdWords. Day 2, we're going to go through keyword research, competitive analysis, and the actual structuring of the account and uploading those keywords into the account. And then day 3, we'll go through and actually build out the ad copy, build out the ad extensions, set the budget, set the bids, talk about some strategy, and then take everything live.
Okay, very cool. All right, I'm ready.
All right, great. So we'll just jump right into it then. And, at any time, I don't want to come across as lecturing, so feel free to interrupt me, tell me I don't make any sense, anything like that. But
okay.
All right, so jumping right into it then. So what are Google AdWords? Well, first of all, let's talk about kind of the benefits of why you, as a local service business owner, would want to be in AdWords. And the reason being is the ads are very targeted, right?
Can you, hold on one second, sorry. Can you actually zoom in? I can't see it that well, so it won't show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's perfect.
That better?
Yep.
Great. So why would you, as a local service business owner, want to participate in Google AdWords? Well, the first and primary benefit is due to how targeted AdWords can be. You target AdWords based on keywords, demographics. You can target them based on geolocation. You can target based on the day, based on the temperature outside, prospect's prior search history. You can be extremely targeted with AdWords, which means that you are only serving your ads to people who you know are actively looking for your service.
That's really cool.
That it's highly valuable as opposed to, like a banner ad on the side of a website where, you just see it and it's not really relevant to you, you ignore it. The other primary benefit of AdWords is how measurable it is. So if anytime someone clicks on your ad, you can track that click. You can track what they do once they get to your website. You can see down to the cent your exact return on investment of those ads. And so that makes it very appealing to any business, especially a business that is limited on marketing budget, needs to account for every dollar and make sure that they're seeing a positive investment. And so getting into kind of what are Google Ads, what formats do they come in? So Google AdWords are served on 2 networks. There's something called a search network and a display network. The search network is what we're going to be focusing on, and that is what you would traditionally think of as a Google ad. So if you go to Google and type in Nike shoes, these top 3 results here are all ads. This is the Google search network. Okay. And then also these Google ads will appear on other Google-owned sites such as Google Maps for location-based local ads, and then Google Shopping. And then there's hundreds of other non-Google search partners like AOL, and they will also show these AdWord ads matched to search results from their website. And this search network is what's most interesting to us. That's what we're going to focus on. Google also offers something called the Display Network, and that's a collection of Google websites like Gmail, YouTube, as well as a bunch of partner sites. And examples of display ads are like the image ads that you see on the sidebar, or the video ads that you see on YouTube, in the corner of a YouTube video.
Mm-hmm.
And those have their place, but for our purposes, we're not going to be paying attention to those at all because they're a lower ROI and they're just not as effective. And so then, since we're focusing on search ads, like I said, those search ads are those text ads. Every text ad is made up of a headline. So as you can see here, this is the headline.
Mm-hmm.
It's made up of a description, which is this: shop the official Nike store for the latest Nike shoes and more. And then it's also made up of ad extensions. And ad extensions are fairly important primarily because they make your text ad bigger and just more appealing. And so all this junk down here is considered an ad extension. And we'll get into all of that later. This is just a high-level overview of sort of the structure of a Google AdWords.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of a basic overview of what exactly is an AdWord. How does the whole process work? How do you as a searcher see an ad? So you as a potential customer, you enter a search query into the search bar here. For example, I typed in Nike shoes and I saw this. Nike shoes is considered a search query.
Mm-hmm.
You'll often hear people interchange the term search query and keywords, just switching them around. I do it as well. Technically they're different, but in reality they're really not. A search query is the actual like real world. I type in this like best running shoes for rain and snow. That's a search query. Keywords are actually what you as the advertiser places into your campaigns to bid on. And so the way that search ads work is you as an advertiser decide on keywords to bid on. So for a maid cleaning business, you would put in keywords like house cleaning, City X, maid service, City X. And then anytime someone enters a search query containing one or all of those keywords, your ad is going to be placed into what's called the Google Ad Auction.
Mm-hmm.
And so this ad auction, it takes place like in the split second between the time that you hit enter and you see the search results. There's an auction that goes on. And that auction determines your ad rank, is what it's called, and that's the position that your ad appears on the page. And so what that means is, to go back to Nike running shoes, there's 2 ads on the page, right? So this is rank 1, this is rank 2.
Mm-hmm.
These are also ads. These are called product listing ads. Sometimes they appear up top, sometimes they're on the side. That's not relevant to us as a local service business right now. But basically, in the search results, there can be up to 4 text ads until you start to get to the organic listings. And for all intents and purposes, if you're not in positions 1 through 4, your ad will never be seen. Sometimes Google will place ads down at the bottom of the page, but you'll literally never get any clicks if your ad's down there. So if you're not in positions 1 through 4, you might as well not even have an ad.
And how does it? Well, I guess you're going to go over that next. I was going to say how does the auction determine that?
That is an excellent question, and that is literally the next point that I'm about to go into.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, so understanding how that ad rank works, it's made up of 2 factors. It's made up of what Google calls your ads quality score, or your keywords quality score, and then your max cost per click bid. So When you set up your campaign, you determine what the maximum amount of money you want to pay per click for that ad is. And then what Google does is it takes your quality score and it multiplies it by that max cost per click, and it determines your ad rank. And so that helps guarantee that even if a competitor is bidding just a ridiculous amount of money for a click, if their ad sucks or if their user experience sucks, they won't necessarily get that top spot. And so what factors go into that quality score? Well, each keyword is graded on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest quality score, 10 being the highest. And the components of this score are the expected click-through rate of your ad, the ad relevance as determined by Google, and the landing page experience. And so how can you, basically you as an advertiser are trying as hard as you can to increase the quality score of your ads. So to increase your click-through rate, you're going to want to be testing variations of ad copy to see which ad copies drive the most clicks. It's crazy. I've seen instances where just adding a comma instead of an exclamation point, or just changing one word around, increases the click-through rate by like a significant amount. And so always testing that and just trying out different variations of ad copy to increase the click-through rate and make your ads more attractive. Adding in ad extensions, which I mentioned earlier, and we'll get into that, but adding in ad extensions, it basically takes up more screen real estate by adding in extra lines, which means that people are more likely to see your ad. It's not going to get buried, which means that they're more likely to click on it. And then just increasing your overall ad performance, making sure that you're targeting people with buying intent. For example, someone who is searching for best running shoes 2016 is much less likely to buy than someone searching for ASICS brand running shoes near me. And so just making sure to target people who are likely to purchase, that all increases that quality score. Ad relevance, again, that's just determined by Google and the search intent. So if Google thinks that your ad is what that person is looking for, they'll be more likely to serve the ad. And then just having a good landing page experience for your customers. So having a landing page that is customized for the ad that they clicked on, making sure that there's not a super high bounce rate. If everyone clicking on your ad goes to your landing page and then immediately clicks back, that's going to be a red flag for Google. They're going to think that something's up, something's wrong, and so they're going to give that ad a lower quality score.
Okay.
Make sense so far?
Yep. So far, so good.
Awesome. So that's sort of how your ad ranks in Google, and now we can move into what you pay, how cost per click is determined, and sort of how Google makes their money and what you have to pay. So when you set up a AdWords campaign, you first need to determine your bidding strategy. The most common by far is simple cost per click bidding model. That's what we'll be using. That's what probably 98% of Google AdWords are using. And that just means that you decide the maximum amount of money that you are willing to pay per click. If you're in the college education industry, you might be willing to pay $100 per click because every new student you get is worth $70,000 to you. If you're in the super low margin shoe industry, you might be willing to pay 50 cents per click. It just depends on the industry that you're in. There's also a couple different models. There's a cost per thousand impressions, CPM. You may have heard of it. This is what Facebook uses and what display ads use. This means anytime anytime 1,000 people look at your image, you're charged X dollars or X cents. And then there's also a cost per acquisition, which is sort of similar to a cost per click. It's kind of complicated. If you hook in your analytics to Google AdWords, AdWords will try to determine how likely that person is to convert based on what you tell it a conversion is. and then it sort of backs into that based on like what it thinks your cost per click bid should be. But it's generally more straightforward to just stick with cost per click.
Okay.
And so once you determine your bidding strategy, cost per click for us, then you need to determine what you want your daily budget to be. And this is basically the maximum amount of money that you are willing to spend each day on average for each campaign in your account. And this amount can fluctuate plus or minus 10-ish% per day, but for the most part, if you say I have a daily budget of $50, by the end of that month, you're going to average out to $50 per day.
Okay.
And in theory, based on Google's official sort of AdWords 101, they claim that you in the ad auction, if you bid and reach position 2, you will only be charged 1 cent more than the minimum needed to appear above the ad below you. So, like, even if you had a maximum cost per click of, say, $10, but you're bidding on, a big pen, which is 50 cents, in theory, Google says that they would only charge you, if position 3 was bidding 13 cents a click, in theory, Google would only charge you 14 cents a click to be in position 2, quality scores and everything else being equal. In fact, I've tested this quite a bit in multiple e-commerce niches, and that's not true at all. In a lot of cases, I had clients spending up to 50% more per click and not dropping at all in ad rank or impression share. So Google's kind of being a little sneaky there. But for the most part and for our purposes, this isn't really something you need to worry about unless you're running massive volume. But it's just something interesting to keep in mind, that you don't want to go crazy with your max cost per click. So you don't want to set it to like $50 a click or something, because you'll end up paying more than you should.
Okay.
And so that's sort of just kind of a behind-the-scenes foundation of Google AdWords and how that all works. As we're going in then to actually set up the AdWords campaigns, the first thing that you have to do when you start a new campaign is to choose your campaign type. And so there, like we mentioned before, there's search network and display network. There's also search network with display select, which basically means that your ads show on both search and display. And then there's also some various subtypes. There's remarketing, which after you start building a list and you have a tracking pixel on your site and you're getting traffic to your site, you can show certain ads to people that you know have already visited your site. You can show ads to people on mobile apps through the Google Display Network. There's a bunch of different options. But all that is to say, we're sticking with the search network only. That's what we want.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how to go about actually structuring your campaign. So Google AdWords is organized into 4 layers. There is the account level, which is associated with a unique email address. That's where you put in your password. That's where you put in your billing info. It's the highest level of your AdWords account. And then beneath each account are multiple campaigns. Each campaign is given its own budget and its own settings that determine where your ads appear. So again, that search network, that display network, you choose that independently for each campaign. And then beneath each campaign is an ad group. And an ad group contains a set of similar ads and keywords that you want to trigger those ads. And then beneath the ad group level, there is the individual ad itself. And you mentioned you're fairly familiar with Facebook ads. This probably looks fairly familiar to you.
Yes, similar.
As far as structuring your campaign, there's no real right or wrong way to do it. It just makes just go with whatever makes the most sense for you and how you want to kind of manage and report on your account. In e-commerce, you go brand and non-brand. In local services, you can go campaigns by city or campaigns by suburb or campaigns by geo-target. It just depends on how you want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So after we sort of determine the structure of our campaigns, then that's when you start to build out your keywords and actually target your audience. Going over this real briefly, basically, whenever you set a keyword, after you do your keyword research and you start building out your keywords, you assign each keyword with a match type. There's exact match, phrase match, and then broad match and broad match modifier. Exact match keywords mean that those keywords fire anytime a user types in a search query that exactly matches that keyword. So if you bid on Nike shoes and someone types into Google Nike shoes, you're going to be bidding on that keyword. If someone types into Google red Nike shoes, you're not going to be bidding on that keyword. And so generally speaking, exact match keywords are the cheapest.
Okay.
The next step up from there is phrase match keywords, and so that means that, again, if you're bidding on Nike shoes as a phrase match, and I type in red Nike shoes, then I will see your ad, right? So phrase match basically just means that the term Nike shoes just needs to appear somewhere within the search query.
Now, will you see, does it go in any kind of order? So, for example, if somebody's bidding with exact match and their exact match is red Nike shoes, will their ad be more likely to be shown than yours, which is the phrase?
Yes, it depends on bidding and quality score. But yeah, generally speaking, you want to you as an advertiser are going to have a higher cost per click on your exact match terms, because you know that if you're setting a keyword as exact match, you know that whoever's searching for that has a high buying intent.
Yeah.
And so you're going to bid higher on your exact match terms, and so you're going to be more likely to show.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. And then there's also broad and broad match modifier. We're not going to be touching these. I would recommend anyone who doesn't do AdWords for a living to not even touch them, just because these are so broad. You end up bidding on stuff that is not even relevant to your business. I've seen crazy things like, so let's say we had red Nike shoes as a broad match modifier. We'd show up on little kids' fire truck shoes. Like, it's crazy. And then also there are negative keywords as well, and basically negative keywords are a way for you to tell Google that you never want to bid on a search query containing that keyword. And so one example would be if, let's say, as a local service business, you have the same name as a maid service in another city, you would just add that city as a negative keyword, and then anytime someone searched for that city, you wouldn't show up.
Okay, cool.
So once you have your keywords set, you structured your account, then you move into, and you've already created your campaigns, then you move into creating your ad groups. And again, there's no real right or wrong way to do it. Just kind of think like your customers would, think like you were searching for your own business. Group, your similar keywords into themes, and then just put them all in the same ad group. Again, it's just an organizational thing. Helps you keep track of your account, and helps you better report on how you're doing. And then after that, you actually create the ads themselves, create the ad copy. And some things to keep in mind, again, nothing to really overthink here. Quote-unquote direct response copy almost always outperforms on a return on investment basis, quote-unquote branded copy. And so what that means is basically, again, back to the Nike shoes example, if I were to say, if I were to have an advertisement that is limited time offer, buy Nike shoes now, versus an ad that says Nike, great style since 1950 or whatever.
Oh, okay, so you're saying
the limited time offer is going to perform better always. And then again, just include as many extensions as physically possible. Adding in ad extensions will never hurt you. It only helps you, and it just increases that screen real estate so that your ads are more likely to be clicked. And then just make sure to always include a call to action, preferably in the headline, because that's generally the only thing in an ad that's read. But just always include a call to action, whether it's something as simple as buy now or sign up now or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
And so then once you've got all of that built out, you've launched your ads, they've been running for a while, then you can begin measuring and optimizing them. And that's sort of outside the scope of this. We'll get into that a little bit on day 3. But basically, AdWords is a very robust reporting tool. There's also dozens of third-party tools that you can use. The primary things for a local service business are just to perform regular search query audits, to either add or negative out keywords as necessary. And I'll show you how to do that in day 3 again. But basically, that's just going in, looking at the actual search queries that people who've clicked on your ads used, to make sure that those search queries align with the people that you're trying to target. And then, other than that, just optimizing your campaigns, making sure that your landing pages are all relevant, making sure you don't have any duplicate keywords in your account, because what happens if you have duplicate keywords is basically you bid against yourself, so you end up paying more than you need to. Split testing ad copy, just always trying to find something that works better to increase your ad quality score, which makes your whole campaign more efficient and more profitable.
Cool.
And yeah, that's sort of a very fast intro to AdWords.
Cool. So I kind of am understanding it a bit. I had no clue about any of that stuff. So I'm definitely understanding the basics now. So you when you're creating these ads, do you look at competitors' ads to kind of decide if you're going to bid against them? How does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the first things that I do when I'm building out a new campaign, and we'll get into this exactly how I do it in the next video as well. But let's just stick with Nike shoes. Let's say I'm building out a new campaign for a new shoe wholesaler. So I'll check out to see Nike. So I'll just check out to see what type of competition there is, what ads they're running. I'll use some keyword research tools to see what the estimated cost per click is going to be, what type of investment I'm looking at needing, just kind of seeing what other people are doing and seeing what I can improve upon.
And would you say that AdWords works is one of the best advertising channels for local businesses?
I would, yes, absolutely. I know that it's not the sexiest advertising platform. Facebook ads tends to get more of the excitement, and Facebook ads is great. I love it. It's great for many businesses, but I would say for local service businesses, especially local service businesses that can only afford to be on one platform, AdWords is the best, I would say almost 100% of the time.
Okay, cool. All right, well, that was really helpful. I have a starting point, which is really cool. And are we going to go through recommended budgets? Are we going to also go through landing page, kind of message match type of things?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, cool.
So that was part 1. Next, we're going to watch part 2 tomorrow, and then part 3 when we launch our AdWords campaign and get things rolling. All right, until tomorrow.